Okay, so in this video we're going to be continuing with where we left off in the previous video with the quadratic formula. Where in the previous video we just were introduced to the idea and how to use the quadratic formula. Today we're going to look at how to graph parabolas using the vertex and intercepts, and we can do that by using the quadratic formula to do some of that work for us. But first off, let's look at this paragraph. It says, recall that the standard form for an equation is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, also recall that the x-intercept, if we're looking for the x-intercept where it crosses the x-axis at, that's where y is going to be equal to 0. Well, remember from yesterday with the quadratic formula, we were solving equations using the quadratic formula, but it had to be when that equation in standard form equaled 0. Well, if we replace y with 0, the quadratic formula, so then to use the quadratic formula, what we're doing is we're finding the x-intercepts. So if we're looking at graphing a parabola, if they ask us for the x-intercepts for the parabola, all you have to do is use the quadratic formula. They won't always tell you what formula to use. You have to think of the quadratic formula as a tool and put that in your math toolbox and know when it's appropriate to pull it out and use it. And so again, if we're looking to find the x-intercepts for a parabola, that's when we're going to want to pull out that tool and apply it to the situation. So let's look at this problem here. Again, they give us the equation y equals x squared minus 7x plus 6. We're going to graph that using the vertex and the intercept. So to start out with, we're going to find the x-intercepts. So we're going to use the quadratic formula. So that's where a is 1, where b is negative 7, and where c equals 6. So now when I use the quadratic formula, just as a review, it's the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and all of that divided by 2a. Whatever a is, you multiply it by 2. It's not always divided by just 2. Remember, it's always 2 times a. So let's look at how we would use that then for this problem. We would find the x-intercepts. It would be x equals, and it would be the opposite of b, so the opposite of negative 7 is 7, plus or minus the square root of negative 7 squared is 49, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 6. All of that's divided by 2a. Well, a is 1, so 2 times 1 is 2. Now, to simplify that, remember on your calculators, what you want to do is you want to take and simplify it under the radical next. So 49 minus 4 times 1 times 6. When you do that, it should give you 25. Divide that by 2, but again, the square root of 25, we can do that without our calculator. It's going to be 5, so 7 plus or minus 5, all divided by 2. So recall from yesterday that what this means is you take 7 plus 5 is 12, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. And our other value for x is that x could equal when 7 minus 5 divided by 2, 7 minus 5 is 2, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So our x-intercepts are at 6 and 1. Now these are coordinates. We want to write these as coordinates. So it's going to be our answer, instead of just saying 6 and 1, it's going to be the point 6, where x is 6 and y is 0, and where x is 1 and y is 0. So those are x-intercepts. Now if I'm looking at my original equation, since a is a positive 1, I know my parabola opens upwards. So my parabola is going to look something like this, but I don't know exactly how it's going to look, so we need more points. We just know it's going to point upwards. Okay, so now we want to find the y-intercept. The y-intercept is easy. That's from a couple videos previously. Remember, the y-intercept is where x is 0. So the x-intercept is where y is 0. The y-intercept is where x is 0. So if I put 0 in for x, I'm left with 6. So remember, the y-intercept is always whatever c is. So c in this case is a positive 6, or a y-intercept is a coordinate 0, positive 6. Now I just need the vertex. The vertex, this goes back to what we did again earlier in this chapter. So if you need to review this, you'll want to look back at the videos and try to find that video dealing with how to graph an equation or graph a parabola. Okay, so we're going to use the vertex here. The vertex is going to be that coordinate hk. Remember, to find h, that's where we take the opposite of b divided by 2a. So b in this case, again, is a negative 7, so the opposite of that is 7. And 2 times a, well, a is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. You could leave it as a fraction or just write it as 3.5. So our vertex is a point 3.5, but now we need to figure out what x equals. So to figure out what x is, we put 3.5 in our equation. So it's going to be, to figure out what y is, we're going to put x in our equation. So it's going to be y equals 3.5 squared minus 7 times 3.5 plus 6. And if you do that in your calculator, you get negative 6.25. So there's our vertex. So we're going to estimate 3.5 would be right here. So go down 6 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 0.25 would be about here. Oops. Okay. So now, if that's our if that's our X-intercept, said that wrong again. If that's our vertex, our line of symmetry is going to go through that vertex. And so now we can see that our X-intercepts are already reflected over that line. So, but my Y-intercept up here, that's 3.5 units to the left of that line of symmetry, I'm going to reflect it so it's 3.5 units to the right of the line of symmetry. So now I can connect these and make my parabola. So it looks something like that. Okay, so again, the process is not that much different from what we've already been doing. You're going to start out by finding the X-intercepts, which is what we did yesterday by using the quadratic formula. Then you find the Y-intercept, that we've done before. You just put 0 in the equation to find out what the Y value would be. And then find the vertex, which we've spent a lot of time doing. Take the opposite of b divided by 2a to find the x value in your vertex, or h. Then plug that into your equation, the original equation, to find the y value for your vertex. When you plot all those, remember your line of symmetry goes through your vertex. So then we reflect our y-intercept, and there we can graph by simply finding our vertex and our intercepts. Okay, why don't you guys attempt this one on your own now. So why don't you pause the video and hit play when you're ready to check your answer. Okay, let's see how far you got or see what you did here. First off, to find the x-intercepts, remember we're going to use the quadratic formula. So a is -1, b is -5, and c is -6. A lot of negative numbers there. So first off, put these in our quadratic formula. So it's the opposite of b, so 5 plus or minus the square root of b squared, which would be 25, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is -6. Sorry, -1. All of that divided by 2a, so that would be -2 in our denominator. We should get the square root of 1 here, which we know is going to be the same as 1. So when I go to simplify this, I would say 5 plus 1 is 6, divided by -2 is -3. 5 minus 1 is 4, divided by -2 is -2. Remember, it means our coordinates are -3, 0, and -2, 0. So -3, 0, -2, 0. So the fact these two are so close together tell me my vertex is going to be close to these. It's not going to be very far off. And to find the y-intercept, remember that's where x is 0. And then y in this case would be -6. So 0, -6 would be down here. So now we just need to find the vertex. The vertex is going to be, again, the h is the opposite of b divided by 2a. Opposite of -5 is 5, divided by -2. Gives us -2.5. So the y value of our vertex is -2.5. And then when I put -2.5 in my equation here, it's going to be y equals, so to find y, it's going to be the opposite of -2.5 squared minus 5 times -2.5 minus 6. When you get that, you should get positive 0.25. Make sure you type it in your calculator correctly. Make sure you set it up correctly. This one's kind of a tricky one, the fact that a is a -1. So that means my coordinate here It's going to be at negative 2.5 and a positive 0.25. So that tells me here's my axis of symmetry. So I could take my y-intercept now and reflect it over that line and draw my parabola. So there you have it. That's how you graph parabolas by using the intercepts and the vertex. So why don't we stop this video here? Then the next video will show you some story problems and how to apply the vertex form to a story problem.